Well, here we are at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg with our good friend Doug Prey. Now, we show people a lot of stuff that happens around here, the shop, the parts, a lot of things. One thing you always tell everybody is you guys not only have the knowledge and the parts, but you have the reference material to do these cars right. We've talked a lot about the weird nuances to adjust carburetors, make things fit. And since your son Adam's been starting to take over the shop facility, you've been working on another project.
Yeah, and all these years I'm always frustrated because we are the factory that built these cars in the 20s and 30s. And so we have the information on how they did things, how they serviced the cars, the parts that went on the cars, the inventories from back in the day. But it's always been kind of scattered through the years.
Some of it on this shelf, some of it on that shelf.
So I'll have a technician come in and say, I need information on how to tune a carburetor, Chevrolet carburetor in 1928 Auburn. Okay, we'll go get the information. We've got it. Well, they can't find it. Where is it? And we'll spend 2 hours looking for it. So what I've done is I've started gathering up all the reference material in the building and sorting it out. And I'm probably 90% there. And then I was amazed because we could never find anything because we didn't have very much of it. Well, let me show you how much we do have when I started digging.
And you're still working on the project, and you've got this much stuff.
Yeah, I've still got tables laid out. But so anyway, I accessed some shelves and tried to start organizing. So what I did basically is starting up here. This is Glenn Prey information on the second generation cars built from 66 on. Right here is original information that I found on pre-1928. Now we don't have hardly any, if any, pre-1928 parts, but look at these are the original manuals showing the parts, car care and operations and instructions and a beauty 1920 to 1921, and all the information on how to drive your car in 1921 and the different models pre-19. So I've got this organized, everything I could find on pre-1928 I put up here. Now pre-1928, I kind of alluded to that to you before. We have parts from 28 through 37, Auburns and cords. People who have a 27 or earlier, they need a part for it. They're not in this building. And why? Because we're the factory. Dad bought the whole factory, moved the entire factory and all its parts to Oklahoma.
And the literature and information.
1960. I mean, we owned the name, the trademarks, bought the business, everything, all the assets. So we are the original factory, what was left over from it. But when we start looking for 27 parts, they're not there. Well, the story that I heard was Dallas Winslow owned the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company until my dad bought it from him in 1960. So during World War II, there was a big scrap drive in coming up with metal. I mean, scrap metal was used for the war effort. And he was constantly being bombarded, you know, if you're patriotic, you got to give us some scrap metal. And they had a railroad that went, a spur of the railroad went right by the factory. And so finally he caved in, and the empty railroad cars pulled up next to the factory building. And he told his employees, anything pre-1928, we're not selling those parts much anyway because it's now 1940s. And they would just pick up the cases of parts, throw them out the window into the train cars, and they all went to scrap. So they don't even exist anymore.
Wow.
So from 1900 to 27 parts are melted down for World War II. But 28 on was still preserved, and we've got that.
Because at that point, those were still used cars that were being driven that they were getting calls for the parts for.
And we don't get a lot of calls for early parts. I think from 27 back, they didn't build a Speedster, and they were kind of square, boxy, not really beautiful cars. They're rare, but the value of the cars these days comes from the design and the styling, and they were very practical, very good cars from 1900 to 1927. But as far as the beauty, it's not necessarily there. So, you know,
makes a difference.
Yeah, people ask for parts, and sometimes a 28, 29 part might work, but they don't exist. So anyway, I still have the paperwork on it. I went ahead and organized. I found everything that had to do with parts from the factory from 1928 through 30, because that was the era of those cars were all the same. 28, 29, and 30 were the same. And they did 6-cylinder, 8-cylinder, and Big 8. And so much of this stuff, you can see it's in new binders, but it's original stuff that we've just preserved. Everything from the original parts list, showing all its numbers. And on some of these, I've even got photographs of all the parts. So all original stuff. Some of the covers are still preserved, like this one, model 888, which would be a 28 Auburn, and that's the original manual. And you can see it's got pictures of the parts in it, and really good pictures. So when we're looking for something, we can come here and go, oh, is this correct or is this not correct? And so that's original factory information right there that, you know, who's going to have that except us? So anyway, I'm trying to organize all that, and I still got more to do, but I'm getting there. So this is 28, 29 parts, but now we go to 28, 29, 30 service. So original service manuals that went to the dealerships on how to work on the cars. So again, you can see the original manuals, 11588. That's the different models that book covers. And same thing. And so we can look up part numbers, you know, and some of them, there's the pictures of the parts, and we can go back. If we don't know what a part is, we can identify it by the picture. So again, this is all service information. And then we've even created a service manual from 30 clear through 33, which is really 31 through 33 are the same cars, and 30 is totally different, but 30 is the same as 28 and 29 and 30. So everything here talks about how to service and work on the cars that went to the dealerships. This would be an update. It's called a service bulletin. And so it's all been printed off, how to work on your car, how to service your car. So, and we reprint these and sell reprints for customers. Original, see if this happens to be one. Oh, this was just an article that was printed that I found telling the different type window frames that a Speedster has. A person says, well, what's my window frame supposed to look like? And there's always a controversy. Well, I found an article that said what the window frame looked like in 25 through 30, what it looked like in 34 and 36. So just technical information. Again, original service books, where there's parts, all that stuff. In fact, that needs to be moved, and I think I'll do that right now. Keeping all the information in one place, a technician will come in here, pull it out, and then hopefully it gets back in the right location. 1931 through 33, original parts, literature. The covers rotted away, but it's like we're making new bumpers right now. What actually shows pictures of the bumpers for us. And so we find out all the differences on the different models on what the bumpers look like. Somebody needs a new set of bumpers. I need to know what to build them. And so, you know, just lots of correct information. And then you can see how much service technical information I have on 31 through 33, which is a lot of it. This one is V12 because V12s are built from 32 through 34. And so when we get to Auburn V12s, I mean, look at this. This is its original.
Even the cover's amazing.
Yeah, established 1930. So when we're coming up with information, you know it's correct.
It's the
It's
real
not
stuff.
just somebody saying, well, look, you could have bought this book for $3 back in. But everything telling about warranty on the car, replacement parts, and this is what is really neat. It's shipping instructions, but it talked about car serial numbers, and on your serial number plate, if it has an A, it was a sedan. If it has a B, it was a Brougham. C, Touring. E for Speedster. F for Cabriolet. So somebody goes, what was the body this was born with? You can look at that number, and if it was an E, it's a Speedster. You and then all the different body styles they had, and then everything from the different colors they had, and I've got all the original colors on every year. It's just tons of information that, and you can see, look, those are just typed, you know, and those are printed, but information, the typed information is updates on every nut, bolt, and screw on an Auburn. I've got the information on it. And on most of it, I have pictures. But that's the kind of stuff that we've got. Makes it kind of exciting. And then we moved to 34 through 36 parts, 34 through 36 restoration. And like we've even printed up a restoration guide, taken original information and then copied it and showed a person, if you're going to get your car judged, what is correct and what it's supposed to look like. So it's just a guide that people have put together. L29s, we don't sell a lot of L29 parts. Most of the L29 parts were sold off. We do still sell a few, but we don't have a lot of them. And then you jump to 36, 37 cord. That's what we sell more of than anything else. Original parts manuals, and look at all this information I have on cords. If you need anything, any information on a cord, on how to rebuild the Startex on it, how to rebuild the clutch on it, the brakes, 36 versus 37, I've got all the information, and my guys can just come in here and access it. And then a bunch of general information that other companies did, I've just stored down there that have Auburn and cord information in them, and then different books over the years that have Auburn and cords in them. And I've still got more to gather up. But I'm trying to keep it all in one place. Just like this is a printout on the wiring on a 3637 cord. They're so complex, so we've had them blown up, printed, and then the customer can buy that and say, okay, this is how I wire my car. But we even sell like brand new wiring harnesses built exactly like they were 1936 and 37. So,
well, you're the factory, so where else would you get one?
Yeah. So this is it. So people need information. Where are you going to get it? Well,
and we've referenced this in several of the other videos, a lot of the other shop tours we've done, that you guys have this stuff. And now you're getting it organized, so you're going to have it in one location. So when people have those questions about, this is bad, what do I need? Here's what you need. Here's the number. Here's the picture of it in the book. We've got it on the shelf to sell it to you.
Right. Well, and then that's it, and it's great for us, but it's great for the customers, because people who have Auburn cords around the country, if they call here, we're going to walk back there and get the parts.
Yeah.
If they say send them to their local mechanic trying to do it themselves, or go to other restoration shops that do a fabulous job, they still have to call us.
Right.
And then we'll see if we have it, and then we ship it to them. And so that's why a lot of cars are just coming straight to the factory to get serviced, you know, whether it's transmissions or the cars have just been sitting and the fuel's bad or it needs a tune-up, you know, come here because we can get it done.
You got the full package here.
We got everything. You know, we've got all the experts, we got all the material, and we've got the parts. So.
Well, there's another key piece to the puzzle of how this factory functions.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge part of it. I mean, this is kind of the glue that makes all the rest of this work. We're the original company that still has all this information, and we're keeping the legacy alive.
So, well, thanks for sharing that with us, Doug. If you've got one of these cars, obviously you know where the information and the parts are at, and also the service work. If you need to have it shipped here and have it done, you guys can handle it.
Yep.
So,
yep, come see us.
Well, more information. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned. More cool stuff coming from the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Company.